We're on a mission to prove that the alternative to food waste is frickin' delicious and pint-sized. So we brew our planet-saving beer using yesterday's bread, fresh surplus bread from bakeries, sandwich manufacturers, bread that would otherwise go to waste. We turn it into our delicious beer. 100% of our profits are poured into environmental charities fighting food waste. The whole thing started about 4 years ago. A friend of mine, Tristram Stewart, he and I were having a chat and he was saying, let's brew a beer made out of surplus bread. And so at the beginning I was starting to give some advice and support, and very soon came on board as chief toaster to try and grow this thing and take it forward.
Our business is all centred around the circular economy. We are taking surplus breads that would otherwise have been wasted in bakeries and the sandwich industry, and then we're using that to produce beer, which means we also use less barley. The bread replaces some of the barley. And at the end of the brewing process, the spent grain goes to a farm where it feeds animals and ultimately replenishes the soils that can then grow more crops to become bread or beer. And we wanted to look at the overall environmental impact of toast and not just be focused on the core process of brewing and using bread. So we worked with ReLondon to look across our whole process at where our hotspots were, which were the key areas that we were perhaps not having as positive an impact as we could be. So one of those key areas was packaging. We have keg and we had just bottles as a package format at that time, and they looked at cans. They weighed up the difference between glass bottles and aluminium cans. A lot of it is reliant on what happens at the end of life, so we all have the ability to change that just by recycling. But overall, cans came out as very favourable for the environment. Also, they keep the beer fresher, they protect the contents, so they're less susceptible to breakage. Breakage obviously is waste, which has a negative impact on the environment as well. So we're scaling up the business so that we can have a much bigger impact to encourage the beer industry as a whole to be more circular, working with the sandwich industry and working with the bakery industry. And part of achieving that is about sharing our knowledge and our experience, but also to look at ways that we can improve the supply chain.
What I'm most proud of, obviously, it's freaking beer, right? At the end of the day, it's great. It's a fun solution. 44% of the bread that's baked in the UK is never consumed. I guess what we're trying to demonstrate is that there are really great productized solutions that can solve it. So I guess that's what I'm most proud of, is how we've managed to create a very tangible solution